Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Peace. Namaste. Nehao. Asundie. Dobre. Frieden sei mit dir. I'm making this video for YouTube because it is long. So whoever is watching this short one, if you are watching it on TikTok, then click on my link to YouTube to watch the full length video. And I'm going to gather my words as careful as I can to make it as informative as possible, but as brief as necessary. When I was a child, I had a consciousness of being able to command food for me to eat when I was starving. And it is a long story to go into how I did it. And I'm not talking about commanding food to drop from the sky like manna dropped from heaven. But I could really speak with my heart to nature, and nature provided to me. When I slept without any compulsion or any struggle, I could take the form of a bird and fly to places where I went to learn, to places where I could have peace of mind and meditate. I had the ability of sitting opposite a wall and staring at the wall and seeing people living on other dimensions, or even sometimes the workers that years past constructed the very wall or the building that I was staring at. I could see them in their various professional field, the laborers, the professionals, everybody busy attending to their duty. I could see all this like watching a script on the screen. And this was not a surprise to me. It was like something that I was conscious of, and I never questioned it. All this continued in different times and places without I wishing it. It just happened. And then one day I died. And when I died, I took the world that surrounded me with me. So how come today I'm standing here and talking to you, going to tell you about third eye opening, about connection to nature, about breaking free from the matrix and embracing who we are and leaving behind who we are not. And also to talk about incarnation and reincarnation and pain as a motivation to help us follow the path we decided to follow and to arrive at our destination. So if I may proceed, let me stop this short one on TikTok whilst I continue the rest of the video on my camera to be loaded onto YouTube. So like I'm saying, I fell from a story building and all neighbors around saw me dying, and I saw myself dying, and I heard everybody shouting on the other dimension that I wasn't anymore, saying and calling my name that I am dead. And I was aware that I was dead, and yet I was alive. I took the world around me with me, and I have been going through pains, struggles, sorrows, on and off, up and down, ever since. On the dimension where I found myself after I died, until my pain that I abhorred so much stared me one day in the face and told me that I am useful because I am your director, and I'm going to send you to the revealer. And so this pain started a process of passing me through cleansing. And I have to make my short story really short by telling you that this is what we call awakening. When you reach a stage where you stare deep into your pains, your sorrows, and you question it, and you embrace it, and you accept it, and unite it with your positive side, and make the two serve a common purpose. So I started the journey of awakening, as it is commonly known. But this journey has nothing to do with awaken, because we actually never die consciously. We rather forget. And so when you are remembering, that is what is the awakening. And so I went through stages and stages and stages, and I'm here to share my story with you. That people are talking about opening your third eye, but nobody tells you what really opening your third eye means, because the meaning they give you is another form of entanglement. It is a form of another prison. And so I will simplify my message and then give you an assignment to find out yourself whether you have started remembering or you have just fallen into another form of another layer of the matrix. Well, the journey of remembering or awakening and the state of remembering or awakening is a very, very lonely one. You should be aware of that. And if you are not prepared to understand the nature of true and natural and happy loneliness, to prepare yourself to embrace it, then it's going to be negative for you rather than positive. So awakening is not about accepting what people tell you. It's about accepting what you are and directing what you want to become. My message was always about becoming like water. When you look at water, water is the mother of all mothers. Water is the one that anything that integrates with it, it slowly filters out by suspending what it will push to the side. As you can see, example, all that are suspended up are the lighter ones, and water will slowly push whatever it suspends, and then it will also release what is too heavy to go under it. And so your training to be an awakened person and enlightened is to learn and study the nature and behavior of water, to become like water. This is the only way you can escape fire and any condition. Water will evaporate when fire comes, and then it goes into the atmosphere and it will release itself back into liquid. And that is what we know the basic characteristics of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. And water is already in the liquid state. It has managed to come from the solid, so it becomes lighter to escape danger than a solid matter can do. And it has evolved into another possibility or capability that when another danger comes, it can evaporate to become the air. That is the training for every enlightened being, because enlightenment has nothing to do with manifestation of material achievement. Because another characteristic of a true enlightened human being, just as water, is to learn to let go. The one who has mastered to let go of any form of material possession, when the need arises, be it so-called lover, partner, house, cars, any form of possession, water can let go at any instant and evaporate, because as long as it lives as the air, it can always come back to the liquid state and even create part of it into solid matter. So whilst there is life, there is always a hope to continue. When you gather all your possessions and you do not exercise letting go, then you become heavy and you lose all the abilities to evaporate. This is the secret of life. This is the secret of life for the one who wants to be free from this cycle of going and coming. Let your next departure be of a personality that has evolved beyond where it came, so that when it returns at all, it will live better than it is living now, and it will continue to evolve and to evolve until it finally escapes this cycle. So opening your third eye without preparation and thereby using all kind of mediums that are being prescribed by self-appointed gurus, be it herbal, be it any kind of torching of the forehead, be it anything, you will never achieve or attain enlightenment with all these if you do not go through the necessary preparation to discern good from evil. Once we come into this world, our free will is taken from us, and then we enter into a program that begins at home, because those through whom we passed to incarnate into this world have been trained and given a formula they must use right from the start of we being conceived in the womb. And this is why nowadays children all over the world have a certain characteristic that are the same, and it makes them appear to be somehow like robots, or as if they were created in factories, because it begins the moment we are given certain kind of so-called vitamins to support the pregnancy. That is where the programming begins, and then the baby is born. The programming continues. Then we begin to wear it synthetic shoes even before they begin to crawl. But be it leather shoe or synthetic shoe, the question is it necessary not to allow those tender feet to develop naturally, to have contact to the mother, to the earth, and to breathe, and to absorb fire which is coming direct from the sun? Is it necessary to block all these kind of qualities by wearing them shoes? Why do we do things because it is being done and not because it is necessary? And that is part of the program. Then this poor baby at age 4 Nowadays in Africa, even at age 2, they are placed in so-called crèche boarding houses because it has become a fashion. So they lose the love and care of the parents, and they go to the center of the programming, where the program is much more concentrated than at home. And the very first initiation into this programming, when we enter into this world, is to train to get a job or to lead workers. It's all about train to earn money. Train to earn money. This is the greatest aspect of the matrix that we are broadcasting to escape from. So imagine we come into the world, then we are being bombarded to succeed. Succeed in what? Succeed in earning the biggest sum of money. Succeed in buying and possessing as much as possible of the worldly belongings. And so we leave the real world behind and we enter into the world created within the world. How then can we call ourselves enlightened beings? How then can we know what true love is? Today, love is what is written and handed down to us. Everything is a manual, and we live by this manual. But when you escape that kind of world and you sit down in the nature and you contemplate and you allow the nature to speak, then you begin to reclaim those abilities that I possessed as a child before I fell from a story building and died. And so I end up forgetting everything. And I was suffering as a result of that. I was in the matrix seeking validation in order to be happy. I was inside the matrix seeking for other people to confirm things I was expecting in order to be happy. I was inside the matrix looking for people to help me fulfill what the matrix has handed over to me as interpretation of happiness. I must get this. I think if I get this person, that person can help me to get this, then I am fulfilled. And that makes you surround yourself with things and people that you think are making you happy. But this comfort zone keeps you away from your true self and from the true meaning why you are in this hell at all, why you are in this prison at all that we call nature. It is a comfort created to make a suffering and a punishment easier for us. It is a comfort created at a rehabilitation center as tools for us to use to find our way back to where we fell, where we died, and where we slept. And before you even enter into this world, in order to start using the intuition within you to remember why you are here, they already create inside this prison another prison that binds you from the true prison. So you come into a prison in which you see that following the manual is giving you a fulfillment, satisfaction, and happiness. And it is cleverly designed to blind you and to close your ears that you fail to listen outside the box. And you see anyone who attempts to challenge this illusion you live in as an enemy. You see your Redeemer as an enemy, and you see the thief as your God. And so before I continue, let me give you a short, real definition of true God. There is a God and there is fake God. Let's call the fake God deceiver or destroyer, the thief, because that God comes to make sure you never become like God. But once you recognize that you are a spark of the God, once you recognize this and work on yourself, then you will see the truth. Know thyself, and thou shalt know God. What is water? Water is what it is. I am that I am. And I seek not to become another because I am unique. This is the meaning of I am that I am. Neither do I expect anyone to be me, because none can be me, just as I can never be another. I am that I am. I am unique, and that is how it is. This is water. Water maneuvers around obstacles and move on. Water can evaporate away from obstacles. Water is like, I don't want to hear, I don't want to see. I am that I am, and this is me. So God is the one who gives freedom. He gives you freedom of choice to be who you are. And he never seeks that you be him, because you are already you. All that he is saying is that become your origin. Find your source, just as water finds its source. find your source. And once you find your source, you will realize that you and the Father are one. Now here comes the thief. The thief say, I am God, and I do not want to become like anybody, but everybody must be like me. How dare I'm wearing shoes and you are not wearing shoes? How dare I do this and you do something different? How dare I pray like this and you are praying differently? How dare I dress like this and you are dressing different? That is a thief. He wants to turn you away from yourself. And once he turns you away from yourself, he has turned you away from the true God. So, first, know that enlightenment, awakening, opening your third eye, is a lonely life. But that lonely life, once you understand and embrace, it is the sweetest life that exists. Because true God need nobody's validation. True God need nobody to be that it is. True God lets go those who want to go away from him. He loves to give freedom. True God learns or knows to walk away from those who will not let him be. Those who want him to give up who he is for their own selfish interest and expectation. They want him to give up his personal script that he is following for his destiny and start following their own script they have written and handed over to him. That is not a true God. That is what the thief wants. And so this brings me to identity politics created also within the matrix to divide you. Let me give you a scenario. If I write an L, there is a group of people who has taken the L to represent them. Another group of people have also chosen G to represent them. Then another group of people have chosen B. Another group, they chose Q. But have they not forgotten something? That as they are creating their alphabets and grouping together, they are grouping as one group of diversities on one hand, leaving another group on the other hand. And those groups, let me give them the alphabet S for straight. So if tomorrow those bearing the S will come and join all the other alphabets, then it becomes a group of people who are just each announcing their diversity. So when it comes like that, then we don't have one group on one hand and the other group on the other, which now becomes the minority. But then we have one. When it comes to this, the question comes, why don't we just cancel it out and tell ourselves that we do not need to use or allow anybody to use our sexuality to identify us. My sexuality does not define me, and therefore I refuse to accept any label imposed upon me. I do not, if I were to be those group from the L, I refuse to let that define me. If I am from the G, I refuse to let that define me, and so on and so forth. Then we recognize we are one people with diversities, and to become like God, everybody must respect each other's diversity without blaming somebody for being evil just because that person is not you. That makes you a thief and a destroyer. But if you want to follow the image and likeness of God, a true God who is not a destroyer, a thief, a divider, then the simple motto, live and let live. The only time you need to act is when somebody uses who he is to infringe upon your liberty to be who you are. This is how a true enlightened person acts. These are all guidelines towards opening your third eye. It is a work on the self. It is not an instant thing to gratify yourself. The stage that you reach, each dimension will automatically be open. So third eye opening is not a one-time thing. So in other words, everybody's eye is opened. It depends on the level that you are. And when you are on your way, you come to a point where you can sit down and the water will be talking to you. You can sit down, the trees and the plants will be talking to you. The sun will talk to you. The moon will talk to you. And it is not because you are mad. And some of the practices is to walk bare feet in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Anytime you feel comfortable, do it. Close your eyes and let the sun shine on top of the eyes. If you do this, it doesn't matter how strong the sun is shining. Just look at it with your eyes closed. It will all help activate the elements inside of you. Walk bare feet. Stare at the sun with your eyes closed. And if the sun is at its lowest, then you can stare at it with eyes opened. Embrace, hug the trees. Feed the animals in the rivers, in the lakes. Feed the birds. Feed the animals in the forest. And for all, separate yourself from manuals handed over to you. Desist from political argument and affiliations. Keep your opinion to yourself. Vote, if you may, what you think is the right. Political argument closes your third eye. Watching things on TV that does not elevate the human race but divide the human race closes your third eye. Anything that you see that does not elevate the human race, scroll past it. Don't waste a second on it, because they are all writing your reality. They are scripts that are reshaping your reality, and you will live according to your reality that you allow the world to create for you. Now coming to holy books. Holy books, including the Bible, are millions and thousands of years human history that are being compiled but mixed up with personal interpretation, personal ego, and political interest. So if you cannot pull away the layers to get to the nucleus, then stay away from it, because there is the exoteric and there is the esoteric. You have to know the two differences. Otherwise, anything that is supposed to elevate you is rather going to curse you. It's going to pull you down back into the matrix. So no holy book today is evil from its original form. We should stop criticizing each other. We should stop thinking that African spirituality is superior over Western spirituality or Eastern spirituality. Spirituality, when you become enlightened, does not know a skin color or a culture. Spirituality is personal. A black man who is practicing Buddhism, it is personal to him, and that is the path that he has chosen. Allow him, let him be, and be you. There are leaders across the African continent who condemn traditional beliefs and religions, and yet secretly use it to manipulate, divide, and rule the masses. In the same way, there are those who condemn the Bible and other holy books, but they use it to open churches later on in the name that God has called them. And then after they make their profit, then they come back and become motivational preachers, and once again begin to condemn the Bible. Those who brought the Bible started the indoctrination on their own continent before they extended to Africa. How come their own people have now freed themselves? It is because twice the leaders from the Western world are now allowing their people to make the choices of whether to follow the matrix or to come out of the box. On the other hand, the African leaders, so-called spiritualists and politicians, open churches, and the ministers, you see them going to church, that becomes example for you to follow. They are just investors in the same church they are luring you into. It is a shareholding in the business in the name of God. So anytime you see them donating huge amount, it is a script. They are just acting, and then it will push you, the poor man who have nothing, to go and put your last penny inside. At the end of the day, the rich man gets his money back, plus his shareholding that he owns in that same church. You are the product. Everything is advertisement. So if you do not see through the illusion, you will never escape this cycle of death and birth. And we, those who are talking, I always say a time is coming when we are going to be silent for secret reasons. I think I will give you the assignment to help you. You take an onion, the natural Wi-Fi. Go to a stream or anywhere you can be quiet alone. First, peel the outer layer, the cover, the jacket of the onion. And now be peeling the layers off. Each time you peel one layer off, think about something disturbing you in life. Ask yourself, how did I find myself in this situation? A little pause. Move to the next layer. As you peel it, bring another topic. Continue this until you reach the nucleus of the onion. It is like a seed where it is kind of the last unbreakable. Where you see there are no more layers, that is the nucleus of the onion. Now, put this nucleus in your hands and close it tight. Close your eyes and meditate upon you imagining all these problems, thoughts, ideologies, problems that does not come from you, but people push on you and you accept it without question. Imagine your mind dissolving them and getting rid of them. Do this one by one before you open your eyes. You may eat the onion and drink water. Or if you can't chew it or eat onion, you can speak everything you imagined back on it. Dig the ground and bury it or throw it in the river. This is not something that pollutes the river. It is something that is part of Mother Nature, onion. But using alcoholic beverage, praying over the river, and at the end of it, throwing the bottle into the river, is a primitive form of spirituality that goes nowhere. Spirits need no bottles. This is pure spirituality that existed before the deceivers of all religions and traditional religions, including the deceivers of our today's so-called spiritualists in Africa, came to the scene. Before them, there were the true spiritual practitioners scattered all over the world. Black people are not only in Africa. Black people are also in India and other places, and in the Caribbean, long before slavery sent them there. And those who were originally taken from Africa into slavery actually are not the typical West African featured looking ones, but typically they look like the Somalia people. They originated from the Indian continent. So we Africans should stop this ownership of spirituality, ownership of dominion over technology, ownership of everything good and everything evil was imported to us in Africa. Everything good existed all over the world, and everything evil sprang up from all over the world. And so those who brought the Bible, while some were evil, the good ones were hidden among the evil ones. They could not make themselves recognized, because then their life will be in danger. This is the meaning of Jesus being hidden in Egypt. He had to run away, to go and hide there. He could blend among these Africans, but he did not look the same like us. When you look at Somalia people, their nose somehow is like the Caucasian. Their hair is more woolly than the West African, and their skin is black. This is the typical race from which Jesus the Christ, when he walked on earth, came from. But today, when we talk about the consciousness that occupies that body, we are not dealing with skin color. Because if it will incarnate back here, it is then only to help mankind. And it can choose to occupy any skin color. Spirituality knows no division and knows no Africa here and white man here and black man there. It is unity. Until you learn to unite all and see all as one, you will never be enlightened. Mind Exodus, free your mind.